Hey guys, this is Sad here. Um, we're gonna be doing a very easy lab today. So basically, what we're gonna do is configure one of the simplest network designs you can find around. Basically, router on the stick. So you have these three PCs down the line here going through the switch, and the switch pick up the communication from the switch onto the router. Now what we're gonna do basically is making use of VLANs to enable inter-VLAN routing by making use of sub interfaces. So as you can see, I already have the network mapped out with the different IP addresses, and this should be fairly easy. So what we're going to do is enable inter-VLAN routing, enable DHCP, configure the switch for remote management, and also enable VTP server. So this switch in the middle is gonna be our VTP server, wherein down the line we can add switches to the network as the network expands. At the configuration from the core switch will be populated across any additional switches that are added later on down the line. So as you can see, this is the corporate VLAN here, and it is called VLAN 10. The IP address is 192.168.10.0. That's the network. I've arranged 10.1 as the default gateway, and it's a /24 network. Also, the cable going into the switch is on FO01, and I have allotted FO01 through 09. That's going to be the access ports available to VLAN 10. The same goes for VLAN 20. The network here is 192.168.20.0. It's good to match your VLAN numbers to IP addressing. Is just make it easier for troubleshooting if issues arise. The gateway here is 20.1. It also a /24 netmax, and as you can see, ports 10 through 19 has been allotted to VLAN 20. And on the far right here is a management computer, and so this network is going to be the management network. As you can see, is VLAN 30. This should be VLAN 99 for sake of best practices. But that's the management VLAN, and the IP addresses should also match this. So I'm just gonna do a couple of changes in here. There you have it. So the address is 192.168.99.0. that's for network. The default gateway is 192.168.99.1, and also a /24 netmask. And ports 20 to 23 will be allotted to this management VLAN. Now the various ports ranges are meant for adding additional PCs to the network. So if you're gonna add another user belonging to the corporate network, you could utilize ports within 01 through 09. Automatically, if DHCP is in error, if we plug in additional PC, they will automatically be configured and added to that VLAN. So that's the reason you want to arrange the ports like this. So what we're gonna do first, we're gonna go into the switch and do basic configuration by giving host names and IP addresses to enable management and assigning access ports to the VLAN, also creating the VLAN database. So here we go. Enable config hostname SW1, line count 0, password Cisco, login. So that's for setting the console password for the switch to enable management. Now you want to do VTY line VTY 0 alert to enable 6 access ports for VTY connectivity. So you enter password Cisco. Now you log in. So what this do is enable telnetting the SSH. So to finalize that, you enable the password that will automatically make you to telnet into the switch. So you enable secret Cisco. There we go. Now let's create the VLANs database. So what you want to do is VLAN 10, then you give it a name corporate, VLAN 20, name sales, VLAN 99, that's okay, name management. There you have it. Do show VLAN. There you see corporate 10, sales 20, management 99. As a matter of fact, they aren't assigned any switch ports yet. By default, all switch ports on the switch belong to VLAN 1, which is the management default VLAN for all Cisco switches. But with configuration, those can be changed. So what we want to do next is assign access ports to those VLANs. Like you can see here, ports 01 through 09 belong to VLAN 10, and that's what I'm gonna do in the next configuration. So you want to do int interface range interface range f is 0/1. When you're going to use the range command, you want to give space between the individual ports number, and then you do 9. Okay, switch port mode access, you can do tab to fill that in. Switch port mode, switch port access, VLAN 10. There you go. So since we are in this interface, we can also assign other ports to different to the rest of the other VLANs. So what you want to do interface range. You want to do exit first. Do interface range range f is 0/10 19. Okay, switch port tab mode access type, switch port mode access, switch port access VLAN 20. Exit interface range f8 0/. Now we assign the rest of the other ports to management 20 through 23 belonging to management VLAN. Switch port mode access VLAN 99. Switch port mode access. Okay, switch port access, sorry, VLAN 99. There you go. Now you want to exit, and now let's take a look at what is been assigned to VLAN. Okay, do show VLAN. There you go. So as you can see, now all the ports, the different ranges have been assigned to the individual VLANs. Corporate VLAN has ports ranging from F001 to F009, as you can see here. VLAN 20 has ports ranging from F010 to F019. Management does have ports belonging to F020 to F023. VLAN 1, which is the default VLAN, still has command of switch port 24, but we'll later on go ahead to change that as well. And port 24 is the link from the switch through the router, as you can see here. But so far this should be good. Now let's give the switch an IP address to enable management. So you want to do int-vlan 99 IP add. You want to take the address from within this VLAN, which is the management VLAN 99. So you want to do 192.168.99. I'll give it .2. How is that? .10 should work too. Okay, 255.255.255.0. now you can do description for references. You want to do management VLAN 99. That is good. Exit. Now you copy the running configuration. That makes it look good. So next we want to move on to the router. Before we do that, let's trunk switch port 24. That would be something nice to do too. So conf t interface f80/24 switch port mode trunk. What that's going to do is going to trunk all the network traffic from the VLANs onto the router. So this link basically is going to be the trunk link. Alright, IDF80/24 no short. Doesn't change anything, but on the router we will see what's gonna happen. Now if you, for instance, put an IP address in here, you should be able to telnet into this switch. So this is 99.10. So let's test that out. Put an IP address here and 192.168.99.6. over. Okay, 192.168.99.6. that's right. Gateway 192.168.99.1. now we should be able to telnet into this switch for remote management. If you remember, the IP address on the switch is 192.168.99.10. so there you go. Now the password that is being asked for is the one which you enabled in the VTY configuration. So this will be Cisco. CISCO. There you go. We are in. You want to do Here go our configuration on the switch coming from through our telnet connection. We are able to view what is on the switch. So isn't that cool? Basically, that's one of the reasons you want to give the switch an IP address to enable remote management. Next on, let's move on to the router configuration to make all the magic happen. So you want to say no, you don't want to go into the wizard. So enable conf, you want to assign a host name to the switch, and I'll give it our one, line count 0, password Cisco, login, line VTY 0 through 5. This gives you 6, sorry, line VTY 0 through 5. This gives you 6 telnet connections to the switch. 0 is a 1 through 5. Password, oh boy, password is Cisco. Now you've set the initial security measures for having access this switch. Next, what we're going to do is for fast Ethernet 0, we want to know shorty. So you exit first, INTF is 0, no short. Now you see something is going on. It's all turning from amber to green in no minutes. Next, you want to enable the sub interfaces on the router. What this is going to do is going to allow inter-VLAN routing. But first, we're going to enable DHCP, which we're going to assign. We will let it be configured on the router, but let's first go ahead and assign the sub interfaces on the FO0 interface. So we go to INTF is 0.10. Now it's important. The 10 is the VLAN number. Now naming the interface .10 is nothing significant, but it's important to have for mapping purposes, that it make it easier down the line to identify the interface and the VLAN. If everything is sort of mapped out properly, it make your job easy when it comes to troubleshooting and having to understand the network diagram as well. So this put us into the sub interface of FA0/0. Now we are in the interface. You want to add IP address. The IP address that goes on the sub interface is the default gateway of the VLAN. Yes, the default gateway of the VLAN. So for corporate VLAN 10, the default gateway is 192.168.10.1 255.255.255.0. Okay, we need to enable the .1Q protocol. So now what is important here is where the number, okay, we're going to use 10. Now this is the actual number that is significant, because that's what will be used for identification in the routing process of the network traffic. So you do that, and then we can just pull this earlier IP addressing up. There you go. You can add a description to this interface. For instance, I like to do that because it make my job very easy as well. So we could say VLAN 10 link on our one. So VLAN 10 link on R1 on the sub interface. That is good. You can do int fa0/0 dot puts you into the sub interface, and then you assign 20. You assign the encapsulation protocol .1q. Now you want to use 20 as well, and then you place in the IP address, the default gateway IP. That's what you want to use on the sub interfaces on the router. So we'll go 192.168.20.1 255.255.255.0. They oopsie. So what you want to do is IP add. Now then you can add description as well. So sales VLAN link, sales VLAN 20. Okay, link on arrow 1. That should be good. What is also important, you could do you could also enable inter-VLAN routing with the management address. So you could do intfa0/0.99. Oh boy, so you want to change F to T. There you go. Now IP add 192.168.99.1. that is important. You first want to encapsulate the 1Q99. You could use this as your native VLAN, something a lot of people do, but you want to use a separate VLAN as your native. That is also important, and it will help you down the line as well. You enter, you put in IP address, the default gateway for that network. That's what you want to use on the sub interfaces: 192.168.99.1 255.255.255.0. You enter description, management VLAN 99. There you go. You exit. Okay, that is done, and that should be fairly easy. Okay, now what we just did, we enable basically inter-VLAN routing. The router is going to route network traffic between these VLANs. Without inter-VLAN routing, even though they share the same switch, they wouldn't be able to communicate. So to enable communications among these VLANs, you want to do just what I did. You want to configure the sub interfaces on the FOO interface on the router. With that, you enable inter-VLAN routing by just doing that. Next, we're going to enable DHCP to have these PCs pull their IP addresses from the router. So the router is going to also serve as a DHCP server. How that is done? Fairly easy as well. There we go. Now what you want to do, you want to create an IP DHCP pool first, and you do that by doing this. So IP DHCP pool, Since that is VLAN 10, you want to name it VLAN 10. Okay, next you want to identify the network for VLAN 10, which is 192.168.10.0.255.255.255.0. okay, also want to identify the default router, so you go default router. You want to use the gateway on the router. That is important. I know those are a lot of numbers, but that's how the router operates. So the mappings will be traceable. 192.168.10.1. That's the default router, default gateway for the network 192.168.10.0. You also do that, and you exit. I want to create an excluded address, wherein maybe you're going to add a server, because normally within networks, server need to be having static IP addresses. You don't need servers pulling their addresses from DHCP server. Like that, you will have connectivity issues to the server. So you want to reserve a couple of addresses that you will later on be having the ability to statically assign to resources on the network. So we're going to exclude at least 9 IP addresses. So let's do this. You go IP DHCP excluded address. Now what I did, I just hit the tab. Is all that's autocomplete the address once it is a valid interface configuration command. Now you want to put in 192.168.10.2. that will be the first address from the lower end. So it's like a range basically. So you are stating you want to exclude 192.168.10.2 to 192.168.10.10. So within this pool, what you are basically saying to the DHCP server, the first available address that the DHCP server can issue to any device requesting an IP address within that network is 11. So it's going to be 192.168.10.11. That will be the first valid address according in the mind of the DHCP server which will be issued. So you want to do that, and you hit enter. That should automatically set. There are other parameters you can set within this DHCP. You can set DNS address, and but we're not going to do that. So also want to do that for the sales VLAN router. So you follow the same step. IP DHCP pool VLAN 20. Now you are within DHCP configuration mode. What you could do, you issue the network that VLAN 20 belongs to. Network 192.168.20.0 255.255.255.0. okay, and default router 192.168.20.1. Now you want to exit out the interface to create a pool. IP DHCP pool, IP DHCP excluded address 192.168.20.2. remember 192.168.20.1 is already assigned, so you can exclude that. Okay, So you want to start from available addresses. So since info.2 is the next available address, so we want to exclude that within the IP DHCP exclude address pool. So 192.168.20.10. okay, now you hit enter. That should set that configuration. Now we're not going to do for management because you want to have command over the management address pool. So maybe down the line you could choose to do that, but in my understanding of networking, I don't think it's proper to enable DHCP to have the ability to distribute management addresses. I think statically assigning management addresses is just the best way for security purposes and also for easy management with regards to accessing network devices. So what we're going to do, exit out of the interface, copy. This is very important. Copy run start. So it builds the running configuration and it save it for you. Now to test it out, we can do this. So go to the desktop, you go, instead of static you want to say DHCP, and let's see what happens. Ooh, isn't that nice? So basically the DHCP pulled the first available address within the pool. So as you can see, 192.168.10.11. default gateway is still the same, 192.168.10.1. netmask, subnet mask is 255.255.255.0/24. Now let's see what happens with the sales VLAN. Desktop IP configuration DHCP. Ooh, nice. 192.168.20.11. It also pulled the first available IP address from the network. Isn't that cool? Okay, now you can see what happens here. So at first they will fail. That shouldn't scare you. There you go. Now what you just did is enable inter-VLAN routing. Without inter-VLAN routing, even though these PCs are assigned within the same, they are going through the same switch, they wouldn't be able to communicate. So basically you just enable inter-VLAN routing by means of sub interfaces configuration. How nice is that? So basically that's all we're gonna do for this first lab. In the next lab, we'll configure the switch as a VLAN server. We're also gonna configure SSH. That's one of the secure and best ways to access switches. We're also gonna add additional computers to the network and see how they all operate within the understanding of VLANs. So I'd like to thank you, and please go ahead, like my page, got any comments, leave it below, and you can also subscribe. Thank you and see you around.